Branding is a crucial part of any business identity. Your branding is what makes a memorable impression of your business and allows you to tell your story and build lasting relationships with your audience. As Steve Forbes quotes, your brand is the single most investment you can make in your business. Welcome to the Creative Monday Discussion Show. I'm your host, Mervyn Budram, and we are creatives transforming lives. Welcome back to the Creative Monday Discussion Show. I am your host, Mervyn Budram, and I will be with you for the next hour. I want to welcome you guys to season 4 of the Creative Monday Discussion Show. I'm so excited. I'm really looking forward to the season. We have some amazing guests lined up for you guys. I just want to thank you guys for just tuning in and making this show your show. And I want to encourage you guys just to invite some friends. Tonight, we're going to be talking about branding, what it is, how to monetize it, how to make it work for you. And you don't want to miss this episode if you're an entrepreneur, a business owner, a startup, small business, and you're looking for some handles in how to really develop and grow and work on your brand. Tonight's episode is for you. I just want to let you know, guys, that tonight's episode is brought to you by Task Belize Limited, a strategic marketing innovation firm here in Belize, and we help you to tell your story, reach more people, and close more sales.
Are you ready to move your business forward? Are you ready to make an impact? Are you ready to go beyond what is? Hungry for more traffic, engagement, customers? Here is your chance to become more successful in the digital world. With fresh, creative, innovative strategies for your organization's messaging, website, videos, graphics, photos, and sound. Skyrocket your brand's digital identity. We do what works. We do things differently. We learn from you to understand your business needs. Tell your story, reach more people, and close more sales. Contact us now to take your business to the next level. Task Belize, the heart of entrepreneurial innovation.
Well, I just wanted to welcome you guys back. I want to welcome everyone who's tuned in. Tonight is very special because we have people watching from here in Belize on the national channel. We want to thank our friends at the national channel for broadcasting the show. So for those who are watching on TNC and you want to comment and you want to be a part of the conversation, kindly send in your WhatsApp messages to 501-623-7898 and you can join the conversation and be a part of the conversation. To our friends on Facebook, on YouTube, you guys can also join the conversation, leave a comment. We want to know where in the world you're tuned in from. And so please leave a comment, invite your friends, let us know where you're tuned in from, and we definitely will have you guys a part of the conversation. I'm super excited. I can't wait to jump in to have our guests tonight. But before we do that, we actually wanted to, our team got together and we were trying to brainstorm how we can add even more value to these shows. And so we are introducing a new segment to our show called the 101 segment. And the 101 is a weekly segment here on the Creative Monday Show where viewers can get expert advice on business related questions they submit on our platform on our website. So each Monday, each month, actually, we will focus on a topic, a theme chosen by you, our viewers. And so if you want to submit your questions, you have questions that you want to ask an expert, we want to encourage you to go to our website, www.creativemondayshow.com, and you can submit. And also we'll be posting on our IG and Facebook page with more answers from our expert. And so tonight's question actually comes from Mr. David Gonzalez. He was asking a question in terms of what is net 30. And so we're going to have our expert share that with you guys tonight. Let's get that on the screen.
Net 30 is just one of the many payment terms that you will see on an invoice. So what it simply means is that payment is due within 30 days from the time you receive the goods or the time you receive the service. It could be different things, from the time of shipping, from the time of delivery. There's other similar terms. You could have net 15, meaning it's due in 15 days. You could have 110 net 30, meaning that you get 1% discount if you pay within 10 days instead of the 30 days. It's important to pay attention to these terms and to try and take advantage of them, especially tracking your payables. So I encourage you to invest in a system or a way of tracking your payables. In accounting, we call it aged payables, so that you don't pay your bills too early or too late, and thereby freeing up cash for other more urgent things that you may need for your business.
All right, we want to thank Mr. Abner from SummitAccounting.bz for just sharing his insight and his expertise with us. We're really excited about this segment, and every week we'll have a new question. We'll answer another question. This month we're actually focusing on accounting. A lot of people had accounting-related questions, so we wanted to tackle those questions and add value to you guys. So I'm excited. I'm ready to bring our guests on. But before that, I want to say greetings to some of our viewers who's commenting. I see Carly in the house from Trinidad. Hello, Carly. Great to have you with us. I see Barrington Morris from New York, originally from Jamaica, but hailing in New York at the moment. So greetings. Thank you guys for tuning in. Again, we want to hear from you guys where you're tuning in from. Show some love, show some likes, invite some friends to watch and tune in, and we're going to have some fun tonight. So tonight's guest hails from Trinidad and Tobago, and so all our Trini friends, we want to hear from you guys. I know Trini is very festive and they support each other, so we definitely want to see that. So she's a personal brand strategist, content creator, speaker, founder of the Brand Print Summit, and the author of the book, The Brand Print. Show some emoji love as we welcome to the screen Miss Jamila Bannister. Hi Jamila, welcome. It's great to have you with us. I was just thinking, like, man, you have a lot of caps. You sound like a real entrepreneur. I think your mic is muted. Yeah, there you go.
Oh yeah, sorry about that. So hi,
No
good
problem.
evening,
Good evening.
Mervyn, and hi to all of the viewers. Yes, when I hear people read my, I guess, credentials back to me, it sounds like a lot, to be very honest.
Yeah, but it's an
but yeah.
entrepreneur. You're an entrepreneur, and that's we as entrepreneurs, and similar with me, we look at situations. We're always looking for better ways to find solutions, and that always lead us into different ventures, and so it's just part of the life. It's just part of the life.
Oh yeah, for sure. Always looking for a solution. Always thinking, how could I make this better? How could I do this differently? How could I reach more people? How could I get more opportunity, build more sales? So we end up doing a whole bunch of things, and you find yourself wearing a bunch of hats. It's true. Yeah.
Well, Jamila, let's introduce you a little bit more to the Belize audience. Tell us a little bit more, because I didn't go in depth with your full bio, because there is a lot that you're doing. So help people to understand a little bit more about who you are and what you're currently doing.
All right. Okay, folks. Well, you already know my name, Jamila Bannister, and I'm a personal branding strategist. And I work mainly with entrepreneurs who would like to market their businesses by leading from the front as a thought leader in their space, so that they could attract more of the opportunities and people they would like in their business. So if you are somebody who is used to being behind the scenes, or if you're somebody who is used to driving your business by referral, and you really want to take ownership of the strategies that you need to take ownership of in order to attract more people into your business, attract the right people into your business. And when I say the right people, people who, one, can afford your services, people who, two, can appreciate your services, people who won't try to haggle with you and try to make you drop your price, because of course you can't drop the quality of your service. So attracting the right people to your business so that you can just have the best clients ever, and you could deliver the best service ever, and you could continue to serve as much as you sell. Because thought leadership is really about helping and serving people, and then in turn having that inbound leads and inbound traffic come to you as a result. So
Nice.
So that's what it is.
I love that, and I want to dive a little bit more into some of that, and we'll do that later on. But before we do that, let's rewind a little bit. Let's talk a little bit. What was life like with you in the earlier days? Like, how did you end up in this current space that you're at?
Well, well, I was in corporate. I've worked in marketing communications and PR for about 8 years, and then I decided to leave that world and go back to school to do another degree. I mean, I wanted to learn more about strategy because I had transitioned from working with government, where there was not a big requirement to sell services. It was more of a communications on the basis of public trust and confidence and so on. But then I moved into the area of financial services. So selling became a huge part of it, and really taking brand and aligning it with outcomes and with measurable results. So having made that move, I had to kind of recalibrate my mind, and I felt that I needed to go back to school in order to learn that. Well, I know now I didn't have to do that, but that's what I did at the time. I left my corporate job. I got a scholarship. I went to the UK. I studied. When I came back home, I was looking for a job, and I got no job. Nobody wanted to hire me. And to be very honest, in the last 5-6 years, I probably had one job for 6 months. I had some other consulting opportunities, but no corporate entity actually wanted to hire me. And to this day, I don't know why, but I mean, I can only chalk it up to me needing to be on the path that I'm on. So with that being said, there was a point in time I realized, I said, I can't wait for somebody to give me a chance.
Yeah.
What I have to do is take ownership of this time in my life, and I have to take charge of this and be more intentional with this, be more strategic with who I am and what I can offer, and therefore put myself out there as the person, as the solution provider in the area of marketing and com. What that evolved into is me getting super deep in the world of digital and taking what I already knew and expanding that knowledge to include a lot of digital creation, a lot of content creation, and really using the basics of relationship, public relations, engagement, communication, combining it with a lot of digital technology to be able to grow my personal brand. And that's what I help people do as well now. So it's no longer a matter of, I wish somebody will give me a chance or an opportunity. It's
Creating
how
it.
am I going to create the opportunity to take
good.
what I want?
I love that. I love that. I want to kind of talk a little bit there. Like, it's so true. Like, a lot of people are waiting for someone to do it for them or create opportunities for them. So dive a little bit into that. Like, what were some of the thought process that you were going through that brought you to that place of, hey, I need to create these opportunities for myself? And then what are some practical steps? What are some practical things that you did to start create those opportunities?
Well, the thought process really started with me realizing that no matter how many CVs I sent out, I'm just not getting any kind of bite. No fish is biting on my line, right?
Yeah.
And I recognized that, okay, I said something had to change. It can't be that I'm waiting and sitting back for somebody to give me an opportunity. So what I started to do is I really started to reach out to people who I knew. And this is very early stage before I even transitioned and became real deep in digital. Just reaching out to people who I knew, finding out if they needed any support like mine, and really starting the conversation. Now, one of the biggest transitions I'd say, particularly for people who are coming out of corporate, and this happened to me as well, was that the rigors of selling and sales, the mindset shift that had to occur in me was enormous. And I think a lot of people also sometimes face that, especially when you're not from an environment where you were required to sell as part, actively sell, so to speak, as part of your job or whatever the case may be. So there are a lot of, how should I say, misconceptions, and there are a lot of icky feelings around the whole concept of sales and selling. So that was a huge point of turnaround that I had to kind of go through so that I could feel okay with telling people, well, this is what I have on offer. Do you want to buy it? You know what I mean? So those are some of the things I had to kind of shift my mindset towards sales, my mindset towards telling people, listen, I have this on offer, my mindset towards being okay with the pricing of my products and not feeling as though I need to basically cut myself down before I even present the offer to somebody. for them to take me seriously, because I mean, you set the tone as an entrepreneur. You really set the tone for what is acceptable for you. And if you decide that you're going to start lowballing yourself, I mean, you will only ever get lowball clients, and you will only ever make lowball money. So those are some of the things I kind of really had to change, and it took me a while. But I'm in a space now where that is no longer an issue.
That's
and yeah.
No, that's good, and that's huge because you I think you hit a huge point there. A lot of entrepreneurs, a lot of business owners, we lowball ourselves. We start even getting in the right mind frame in selling our products and selling ourselves and selling our service. We're great entrepreneurs, we're great innovators, we're great creators, but then it's time to take that product and put it out there to the world. And there's something about a fear. I don't know if it's a fear. I'm not sure if it's just not knowing how to do it. But something just kind of comes in the way, a barrier that holds us back. And I think it's crucial that we overcome that so that we can truly step into the success that we want to have. What were some of the things that you had to practically do to, you mentioned making that mindset shift at sales? Like, what were some of the practical things you needed to do? And what are some, it's a two-part question, and what are some of the before and after mindsets that you had?
Okay, so some of the practical things that I had to do was that I had to pick up the phone and call and ask the question. Sometimes I remember there was one time I sat in my living room and I said to myself, how come nobody is calling me? Like, I am so talented and I have so much to offer. I literally, that question literally went through my head. And like a year after that, having that kind of question and pattern, I'm like, what were you thinking? Who did you expect to call you? You have to call them. If you have something to offer, if you have something that can help them, right? And I think that was one of the things I had to, in that shift, I had to recognize that this is not you asking for a favor. This is you giving people something that can actually help them. There are people out there looking for you to help them with their problem. So, I mean, I had to actively start looking for opportunities. I had to start picking up the phone and calling, looking to see, ideating, seeing how could I, as a service provider, and this is one thing that a lot of service providers will tell you, how do I transition and take my skills, my disparate skills, and turn them into products? How do I turn them into actual packages, services? How do I really make this thing nice and neat so that I'm not offering, because I'll give you an example. Prior to me doing personal branding, and I started, because I was in the area of PR and marketing, I would tell people I could offer them a whole bunch of services, writing press releases, doing this, doing events. And then I said to myself, you are just one person. At what point are you going to be able to do all these things, right? I literally had to have that thought pattern. And then I went to my website and I started removing services. And then I said, oh, but if I only have one, I don't really make a lot of money. So I really had to do that. And so practical things I did. I had to start reading books. I needed to get more education in the entrepreneurship field. I needed to understand how people before me did it. And particularly when I started to dive into digital, I needed to see how what I had already known, at what point would it meet in the middle with digital. I had to throw away all the notions of academic achievement and really get practical, because you really can't learn about business in a classroom. There's no way. I did an MBA, and I'm telling you, the MBA did not prepare me for this.
I agree. Look, I agree, and I interject there. That was my thought process. I remember graduating from college, and I had the opportunity to further my education in a specific field. And I was like, you know what? I can go and I can spend tons of money doing a business course and trying to learn about business from people who never had an education. They just got out there and used common sense and they figured it out. And I said, you know what, I will take that money and I will invest it into my business and learn from doing it practically. And that's kind of how that was part of my starting process. So, you mentioned at the beginning, and you alluded to it again, about education, and you don't necessarily, I want to say this carefully, but you don't necessarily need to pursue educational degree, a formal educational degree, and correct me if I'm hearing you wrong, to pursue some of your business venture. Help us understand what you're saying in that.
Yes. So what I'm saying is that I realized that, well, the world has evolved to a spot where if you want to have a large successful business, a degree is not a requirement. Now, it doesn't mean that I don't support people, because I have 3 degrees moving. Too many degrees. I'm like a thermometer across here, right? But I would say this. I would say anybody who wants to go to university, go, because there's benefit to university beyond the education. University provides you with a very solid network of people that you don't have if you do not go. A lot of your contemporaries will be running your country at a particular time. Like, that's the time I'm in now. A lot of my contemporaries are senior in management, and so you're seeing some of them in politics, and you're seeing some of them in big organizations, and that's an important thing to have when you go to university, because the networking is unparalleled, right? So that's one thing I would definitely say. I'd also say that the purpose of a degree isn't necessarily to give you, isn't necessarily to tell you what to do. The purpose of the process of a degree is to groom you to think more critically.
Yes.
It's to groom you to think and to be more discerning in the way that you make decisions and assess situations. So a degree has validity beyond just the actual facts of the situation. It will put you in scenarios to groom you into adulthood, real life situations. You will meet people drastically different from yourself that you have to manage with in everyday life. So that's important. But with that being said, if university is not on your trajectory and you want to start a business, that should not stop you. And to be very honest, it would be good if you get under the mentorship of somebody who has done it before, or make yourself available to learn and absorb as much as you can from those people. So all the things you didn't get in university, you now have to learn it on your own. And you have to craft your own degree by making sure that you network and reach out, by making sure that you subject yourself to a process of learning still. The learning may not be in a classroom, but you have to learn from somebody who has done it before you. So it's really important that you do that. So whether you do a degree or not, you still need that process of learning and learning from somebody who has gone before you. So
I agree.
Those are my thoughts.
Very, very good points, very good thoughts. And for those, again, who are tuned in, we are talking with Jamila Bannister from Trinidad. We're talking tonight actually about branding. So this is like an intro to branding, but it's not just branding, it's about business and doing life. And it's so important, guys. It's so important, even with I think we need to continually be in a state of learning. We need to be learners. We need to. So that's a personal responsibility, even if you're not in a formal school setting. A majority of the information and knowledge I have has been practical, have been from my own research, been on YouTube, been on Google, just talking to friends, talking to colleagues in the same arena, reaching out. So it's very important to create that environment around you where you're continually developing yourselves, reading books. So Jamila, I want to kind of segue a little bit into tonight while we're here, and we're talking about branding. And for those tuning in, like, you're right now, we're in a time, especially now with social media, with brand influencers, personality, like there's so much out there. Tell us from your experience, help us and help our audience to define what really is branding, and why would you say it's very important?
Well, okay, so there's branding, and then there's the process of building a brand. So branding really is the creation of a particular how should I say, reputation, or the creation of a particular way of thinking around a person, product in the minds of the consumer. So a brand is something very mental, and it's a conglomeration of a bunch of different activities that come together to create this perception, I would say, of a particular person or thing. So I tend to focus on personal branding, which comes down to the intentional creation of a particular perception around an individual, based on their reputation, based on the things they do, the things they say, the things they wear, the things they engage in, the activities they get behind. And it really is that intentional curation of that person's image, so that they can be positioned in the viewer's mind in a particular way. So people get to differentiate them, as opposed to somebody who may be like them, but they're not exactly like them. They're different.
Yeah.
and your brand allows you to stand out like that.
Yeah.
So and it really is also the relationship that you build with the audience, and you really having that close bond with the people who buy into your philosophies, buy into your belief systems, buy into the way that you do things, and your brand gains traction and it gains reach because of those people. So then that's when you kind of have the brand proliferation, and it really kind of going out from you, and the brand now no longer belongs to you, it now belongs to the people.
Yeah.
So that is what tends to
Yeah.
happen.
So, and why would you say that is important? Because right now we're hearing a lot about a personal brand and the importance of having a brand. But from your own experience, why would you say it's important?
Well, okay. So in this digital age, as I said, I mean, I had two presentations in the last week, and I said it then. I'm going to say it again, that we are in so many more places than we realize now.
Yeah.
We don't start off as something local and become global. We start off as global. I mean, I'm sitting here in TNT tonight. You're in Belize. We have people from New York. We have people from other parts of the world tuning in. So for all intents and purposes, this is a global show, right?
Yeah.
And when you have to consider branding in quite the same fashion, we are in so many more places than we realize. And the intentional curation of your reputation and your image, what it does, it puts you ahead of the curve, so that you can access many different things, opportunities. You can access people, you can access projects, you can access, and you can actually give more to people than somebody who really is not known. So it allows you to even become a better servant leader, so to speak, because
Yeah.
when people see and know you are affiliated with a particular thing, what it does is that it allows other people who come after you an easier opportunity to access. So you kind of build yourself, you almost become like a portal for others. So as I say, you sell as much as you serve. And as an entrepreneur, as a business owner, now um, we live in a time where consumers are interacting with media very, very differently,
Yeah.
right? So the democratization of media has allowed us to now not rely on anybody to give us permission to get on TV or
Yeah.
radio or press or
Get out there
whatever.
and do it.
You just get out there
Like
and
you
do
said,
it,
create
right?
our opportunities.
Exactly. So
Yeah.
we now have the opportunity to create our own opportunities. And with that being said, we have to know that there's no filter on the world. So as much as the good comes, the not so
Yeah.
good comes as well. And we have to take ownership and responsibility for the brand that we want to build, because ultimately, regardless of whether or not you take intentional action, a brand is being built about you every day. Right?
Okay.
So
That's a
I
good
always
point.
tell people it's important to take hold of it, manage it so that it is what you would like it to be, rather than some deformed, mutated thing that you can't recognize. And you hear people say this, and you're like, what? That's not me. But
Yeah.
it is you, because you didn't really control the narrative. So
Mm.
it really is important as a business owner to know that people are looking on and they want to know more about you. They want to know who they're buying from. They want to know where they're spending their money. They want to know who is the person behind a particular thing. So, and that's why it's like super important now, especially if you're a business owner. People want to know. They will search you, Google you, see what you're about,
Yeah.
and that's what they
I
do.
love that. I love that. Take control of your brand, because whether you're actively building one or you're just passively building one, you are building one, and that
Yeah.
is profound. And I think that's important for even entrepreneurs to keep in mind. For me, that was something I didn't consider in the earlier year. I was just lacking in doing the work, but not necessarily looking at the brand and my personal image and how that was going about, right? And so I learned the hard way the importance of making sure that you grab a hold of your brand and you manage how that kind of gets out there. Jamila, tell us, what are some of the important factors that someone should consider when they're building their brand?
Oh, yeah, a lot. So let me just give you a few. So one of the most
Give
important,
us the essential ones. The essential
the
ones.
essential ones. Okay. So one of the most important things you gotta be um is clear on what exactly would you like to do or build your brand for, right? So what exactly is the intent with taking ownership of the brand, and how exactly would you like it to play out? So you got to know what vision you have for yourself and what vision you have for your life, right? And how would that vision then inform what you are going to do? It's also important that you are self-aware, because there are lots of people who
Yeah.
may want to do things and brand themselves, but because they have habits, because they have behaviors that impede their progress,
Mm.
it's important that you come to a certain level of self-awareness. So if you know you're somebody who's lazy, you don't follow through on things, you're inconsistent, you have to take ownership of those things. And they may seem to be very personal, but a personal brand is you. And I can tell you this: even if you are a business leader, you're a CEO, or whatever the case may be, the culture of the organization you built is built on you. It is
Yeah.
built on your values. It is built on your philosophies in terms of work. That's why even though a company would be around for 100 years, they would realize that under certain leadership, 10 years, excuse me,
Okay.
the company thrives, and you're like, and you see it all through the company. And under certain other leadership, they will just not thrive at all, and the buck stops with the CEO, because the CEO sets the tone for the culture, and the culture is built on the belief system and the heart of that CEO. So it's really important that people understand that self-awareness is a critical part. That's why when you sit in a seat of leadership as a business owner, you have to be constantly working at yourself, constantly improving your personal development is critical. So self-awareness, having a vision for yourself and for your
Yeah.
brand, impact you would like to make, and really how you would like to be positioned. And I think once you have clarity on those things, it becomes easy to fill in the other parts. So you know what, you know who you want to reach, you know what impact you want to make, you know how you would like the market to see you and the impact you'd like to have on them. You know who you are as an individual and a leader. And once those three things come together, and they should be running along the same trajectory, along the same lines, it's very easy to figure out, okay, well, we know what impact we want to make. So these are the people we want to make it on, and this is what we're going to do.
I love
So I
it.
think that's really, really critical in order for you to really have great impact and to build a community of people that can get
Yeah.
behind what you want to do.
I love
So
this.
that's what I would say.
I love it,
Yeah.
guys. I trust that you guys are soaking this up. I know it's very informative. Even as I think it's Serenity said, this is very informative, and it's so true. It's crucial and it's important. The whole aspect of being self-aware. And
Yeah.
if I love what you said just now. If you sit in a seat of leadership, if you're even if it's just you in the company, you're in a startup phase and it's just you are the leader. You have the opportunity to define that culture, define the what will be
Yeah.
important to the company. And one of the
Yeah.
things I've learned for me is working on my business is working on myself, and working on myself is working on my business. It's been such
Yes.
a it's been such a crucial. The areas that I struggle with, my business struggle
Yeah.
with. The areas that
Yes.
I've strong in, my business are strong in. And what I've learned over the years as well is to surround myself with people that are strong in the areas that I'm weak. And so
Yes.
and that's what's so key in hiring and building your team, because you can build out and bring the areas of that you're weak in and bring strength to those areas, right? But it's so crucial having a clear vision, having a clear mission. I can't stress how important that is. And then
Yeah.
also having values that govern. And I think the values are so key, because the values govern the heart of the company, governs what we do and why we do it and how we go about doing it, right? So,
Yeah.
so key. We've been talking about what branding is. We've been talking about why branding is important. Let's talk about how do we build a brand that pays. And that's kind of what everyone's here for tonight. They want to hear about these practical, hands-on tips to build a brand that pays. Because right now I see a lot of influencers on YouTube, on Instagram, all over the place. The question is, are we just taking pictures? Are we just putting our lives out there, or are we actually translating that into revenues that can sustain our lives, and more than just sustain our lives, but to kind of impact the world through our brand and what we believe in, right? So Walk us through what that process is, because you've done it. I've seen it. You had the summit last week, and I was very amazed and impressed. We'll talk a little bit more about that later on.
Yeah.
But just the whole aspect of taking your belief, taking what you believe in, your brand, your values, your vision, building a community around it, and then having that turn into a revenue stream for you. Like, walk us through that process.
Well, okay, so in my book, The Brand Print, there are 3 things I identified that must intersect in order for your brand to really pay you. And one is some type of expertise. Like, you need to be bringing value to the table to help other people. The brand cannot be all about you all the time. I mean, people who build models like that, there are some influencers who build a model like that, but that model is not sustainable. How long are you going to put yourself in that position? And how are you helping people really, right? So you must have some expertise. Your customers must have some sort of problem, some sort of pain point that you need to solve, something that they need help with, something that they looking to a solution provider for. And the third thing is that you must have a brand personality that is memorable so people can really see you and you're more visible. And when those 3 things intersect, that's where you get you're able to cash in. And it's really important that you are able to take whatever you offer. So for example, let's just say you may be a service provider in the field of I don't know, let's say you're a producer, you produce shows or whatever, you work for a TV station. But then, how do I take my knowledge and package it so that people can actually, I show my expertise and the people can know that I am somebody who can help them produce shows. 2, I find the right people who actually want to produce these shows and are not sure what to do. And 3, I am able to connect with people on a heart level so they could know me, like me, and trust me and believe that I could provide them with a solution. So doing that means that you need to be clear about what your offer is, because people don't buy from people who are confused. You also need to understand that you need to build relationship. Nothing happens overnight, because people buy from people and they want to get to know the people that they're buying from. As I said, people take time to make decisions. The more expensive a product is, the more time it will take to make the decision, right? Because it moves from being a commodity to an investment. And when people make investments, they're looking for ROI. And that means they need to spend time considering. So the effort that you need to put in to sell a product for $10 is different to a product for $1,000 and very different from $10,000, right? So it's important that you provide value on those levels, and the level of transformation in somebody's life or in somebody's business or whatever the problem is means that you can in fact really be able to extract more money and more opportunity from whoever you're helping. And you have to be willing to put yourself out there. You cannot be that person who says, well, my work speaks for itself. No, your work doesn't speak for itself. You have to speak for it, right? So you have to be willing to put yourself out there. You have to be willing to take the initiative and speak to new people, build your networks. You have to be willing to try new things, right? Take risks. So that's important. And I know we'll talk about this summit, but when I first decided to get to this summit was an expensive venture to undertake, just to be able to get the back end so I can build it out in a highly professional manner. It took me a long time to pay for it, but you know what? I am very, very happy that I did. It was a huge risk to take it. But now I'm in a position where I know it's going to be like one of those signature events on the business calendar for years to come. And I'm glad that I took the risk, and I'm glad that other people can now enjoy it and have fun with it and learn from it, because it's not just about me, right? It's about me providing value to people, and it's about me showing my expertise, and it's about me showing up in my most authentic personality, because what you see is definitely what you get. There's no difference there. You know what I mean? So remember those 3 things have to intersect: your expertise, the value you bring to the table, the customer having to have an issue, a problem, they're looking for a solution provider, and of course you need to bring some personality. You need to show people why you're different, why they should engage with you, why they should trust you, know you. What are some of the things that they want to connect with you on, philosophies wise, belief wise, values wise. And once those 3 things intersect, boom, you got it.
I love it. You said a lot there, and I want to encourage those tuning in. Please these are stored on our site, creativemondayshow.com. You can go and watch the reruns of them and slow it down, pause, take notes. It's going to be sure. Jamila, I want to go back to something you said just now that really leaped in me, and I want you to kind of maybe unpack it a little bit before we start talking a little bit about the summit. But you said they got to know you, like you, and trust you. So know me, like me, and trust me. Yes. I think that is so key. Know me, like me, and trust me. Break that down for us. Break that down for us in a practical way. Like, tell us more about, okay, what does it look like to help people to know you? We've talked about the marketing side, the brand side, but to like you and then to trust you, that's key right there. So talk to us a little bit about that.
Oh, sure. So the know, like, and trust factors, I call them the KLT factors, really are the basis of relationship, right? And in order for people to get to a point where they feel safe, that you can really take care of them, they first have to know you exist. Right, so people can't buy from you if they have no idea you're around, and they really have to like you. You know, there was a time I put a poll out on LinkedIn and asked people, "Could you really buy from somebody who you don't like?" And some people were like, "No." And then I said, "Okay, let me raise the stakes. If you were buying a car, if you were buying a house, if you're buying a big piece of property," and everybody's like, I have to like them. And the reality is that
it's true.
It's true. I mean, I really have to like feel your vibe. You know, let me tell you something. There are sometimes people. I don't know if you've ever like experienced this, you know, but sometimes I was recently having a conversation with a company, and they into real estate development, and they were talking about sometimes they try to sell houses and stuff, and people would like reach right on the brink of making the purchase and then say, "Oh my gosh, I got a vibe," or "I had a dream," and then they're like, you know, something is off. So you know, the trust isn't too. It's not there. They're not really liking it. So
I've had that.
Exactly.
I've had that enough times. Yeah.
Exactly. So it really is the basis of relationship, and the reality is that you can't rush. That's a process you cannot rush. It's like trying to will a plant to grow faster than it grows out of the earth, and you really cannot do that. That's like telling a child, "Why don't you just like grow up faster? Like I need you to get taller by tomorrow." It doesn't work like that, right? So that know, like, and trust factor really comes from you putting yourself out there so people can get to know you. How do people get to know you? You talk to them, you introduce yourself to them, you initiate conversation with them, you put out content so they could see you and they could see what you're saying and hear what you're saying. How do they like you? Their values have to align with yours. Their philosophies have to align with yours. The things you're offering has to be something that provides them with a solution, and they really have to see it work for them. And that is when you start nurturing people and nurturing the relationship. When they start to trust you, when they see it work for you, give them a taste. You may give them a free download. You might invite them to a summit. You might this and that and the other, and you really give them the opportunity. So there's no room for them to say, "I don't know this person." There's no room for them to say, "This person is not for me," and there's no room for them to say, "I did not see it work for somebody else." Right? And at that point, it's just a matter of when they're ready to make that decision to invest, boom, and they're going to make that sale. So that know, like, and trust factor is something that we do every day. We probably don't recognize that we do. But for every person that you introduce yourself to, there's a potential for that person to really to be your next referrer, right? It may not happen in the moment. And I always tell people, let me tell you something, not everybody you connect with is supposed to buy from you, but everybody that you potentially connect with could connect you to somebody else to bring some other value into your life.
Yeah.
So it's not about being narrow focused to say, well, I'm only talking to people of this or of that. You don't know what a LinkedIn message can lead to. And this has happened to me more than once, where I just reach out to people and say, "Hey, hello, I'm just connecting because I think, I like your vibe and I see some of your comments and I really like what you're doing across there. Let's keep in touch." Next thing you know, they're the ones to put me in touch with somebody inside of their company, or they're the ones to say, "Well, I recommended you for so and so because I know you do this and I see you posting and I'm seeing your content and I really love it." You know what I mean? So it really is important for us to understand that know, like, and trust, and to really be organic and natural with it and to be easy with it. Don't try to force people into like relationship. I mean, if you meet somebody, you're not gonna just marry them, are you? You're not gonna just pull them on the street and put a ring on their finger. Right? You're not gonna just do that. You're gonna take your time with them. You're gonna groom them. You're gonna bring it to them and ease them in. So by the time you are no longer telling them to get there, saying, "Show me the solution and take my money." That's what they're gonna say.
I love this.
So
love it. So Jamila, we have about 15 more minutes. So we wanna jump in to talk a little bit about the brand summit. You alluded to it
Yes.
earlier. And for those tuning in, I just want to thank you guys for your comments. Keep bringing them on. If you have a question, feel free to drop it in the comment section, and we'll do our best to try squeeze it in before the timeout. And tonight we're actually giving away a copy of Jamila's book. She mentioned it earlier, and I'm picking up a copy for myself because I already heard a lot of good stuff from that book that I definitely can utilize in my everyday business operation. So one of our viewers, you will have an opportunity at the end of the show to find out how you can get a free copy of her book. And so the Jamila, tell us a little bit. You said earlier you took a huge risk in pulling this summit together, the Brand Print Summit. Tell us a little bit about the summit. It happened last week for those who weren't aware. But I think it's something you're doing annually or at least over a period of time. So tell us a little bit about that. And for me, and I told Jamila this, I see it as also an outreach for entrepreneurs because it was a free summit you could have attended to get value from amazing speakers. I was a part of a few of the sessions. And so tell us a little bit about that summit.
Sure. Well, before I do, I just want to say hello to all the people in the audience. Hi, Maxine. Thank you so much for your support. I have your notebook out. Hi, Kadeen. Thank you for your support. Hi, Juma. Hi, Naturally Belize Cosmetics, Serenity, and everybody else on the stream, right? Give me a shout out. Okay, so the Brand Print Summit. So last year, post-COVID, post-lockdown in TNT, a lot of us, lots of entrepreneurs were experiencing a lot of, how should I say, downtime. What do I do now? What do it really showed up. The COVID really showed up whose systems were working and whose systems were not working.
Yeah.
So if nothing else, it exposed you, okay? And for a lot of us, especially those of us who weren't operating in digital, because I wasn't digital, so to be very honest, COVID did not hit me as hard as other people. The things that I lost were physical, in-person speaking opportunities. So I lost a few of those. But what it did is it gave me a time to spend time thinking, how can I recalibrate and how can I do things? So a friend who just so happened to send me an email said, I think you might like this event. I think, it's free. You could go to it. And that was the first time I attended a summit in March of 2020. That was a year and some ago. I went to the event and it was an enormous summit. And I attended just 3 sessions. After 3 sessions, I was hooked. I was hooked. And from that summit, I met somebody who is a producer of summits. And she invited me to view something that she had. She had a product that to help people produce summits. I bought the product, even though I didn't know how I would pay for it, but I bought it anyway. And 4 months later, I produced my very first summit. And that process was grueling. It was a lot of work. I planned it in, I'll say 90 days, 100 days. And what it did for me is that it allowed me to really give people insight into what they should be doing, regardless of whether or not there's a pandemic. And what I think it is, a lot of the feedback that we got from people was that this came at just the right time when I just was not feeling to do anything with my business, and I was just feeling like, what could I do now? I just didn't know what was my next step. And it was a free summit, and it will continue to be a free summit as long as we can afford to produce it on that level, because it really is about giving back. And I will continue to ask the sponsors to come and put some money in it so we could keep it for free. So that we can continue to give people opportunities to really be educated by these people. And the summit really is an opportunity for you to come and learn about the things that you need to know how to grow a personal brand. And it really is me practicing the things that I teach people. It's all about networking. Getting all the people on this summit from all over the globe. There's a lot of talking, conversations, networking, relationship. So I am always on the hunt for speakers. I'm grooming my speakers even a year in advance, looking to see what other people are doing, building that relationship 6 months prior, and then saying, hey, I love what you do. Do you want to speak at this event? It's all about, selling and crafting products and setting up digital and automations and technology and advertising public relations. It's all of the things that I would teach people normally, me putting it into practice to produce this event so that I could show people, listen, yes, we are in the Caribbean. Yes, things may not be as fast paced as they may be in, New York or London or Toronto or whatever the case may be, but we can produce high quality events from this region, and we can continue to give value, and there is opportunity for us to expand, grow, and scale globally with the brands that we have, to really impact the people around us and to really give that value to those around us, right? So expanding our brands and our business isn't just something that's built for people in the US or people in UK or Canada or Australia or whatever the case may be, or Europe, right? But I think it was important for what I recognized after the summit is that it was important for me as a Caribbean native to show other Caribbean natives that this can be done. And it can be done at at impeccable quality, and it doesn't have to be slapdash or unpolished because it is being done by, because I don't know if this is the way in Belize moving, but in Trinidad and Tobago people like foreign things.
It's true. It's
right
true.
Because they always think foreign things are better. And so I am proud of the people who worked with me during the summit last year. I think their eyes have been open to the extent to which they can reach people. When we look at our analytics and we see people from Hawaii and Australia and China and Russia and Korea and India and all over the globe, Sweden, Germany, England, in this event, it really was fantastic to see that. So awesome. I'm quite happy about that.
Well, congrats. I think you've hit the nail on something key, and I love what you said, because that's my heart as well. That that from here in the Caribbean, that's one of my heart from here in Belize, that we can release something into the world of quality, of excellence, and export it to the world, right? And when I saw the summit, I was very impressed, because I was a part of a similar summit earlier this year in 2020 as well, and earlier this year, and the quality was on point on both of them. So I want to say kudos to you on that, for just bringing that platform. And I want to encourage people to connect with Jamila. Her contact information will be scrolling on the bottom. Make sure you connect with her. Make sure you learn more about the summit. Make sure you grab her content, follow her page, look her up on LinkedIn, look her up on social media, and stay connected into what she's doing. Jamila, we are almost out of time. These discussions go so quick. I would love to unpack more for our audience. People are definitely sending in their appreciation. I want to thank you, Mark, Melanie, Tricia, everyone who's commenting. I shout out to you guys. Actually, we want to take if we can take about 2 to 3 minutes to just answer a couple questions that came in. One came in earlier from Melanie. Yes. If we can get that on the script, it says, "Thank you, Jamila. Appreciate the insight into KLT. You talk a lot about putting yourself out there. Any tips for introverts to let go or overcome their preference to stay in the background?"
Oh, Melanie. Oh, gosh. I wish you had come to this summit. We did a whole talk on that. And you know what? I actually did a video on this on my YouTube channel earlier this year as well. And I always tell introverts, in the way that I understand introversion, it really is you wanting to be able to kind of manage the energy. But what I would say is that don't use your introversion as an excuse to not reach out. Even if you're an introvert and you don't want to feel overwhelmed by having to socially perform, it means that it is incumbent upon you to take the initiative to reach out to people. So if you don't want a whole bunch of people coming at you, it means that you need to actually approach people on a one-on-one basis. You need to pick up the phone and call people. You need to reach out to them one-on-one, have these conversations. You need to approach them on your terms. So that's essentially what I would advise you to do. Approach people on your terms. If you don't want to wait for a whole bunch of people to come in at you and your phone is ringing and people inviting you to parties to go here and there, you don't want to network in that way, that's fine. There's no problem. But it doesn't mean that you shouldn't be networking. It means that it means that it is now even more incumbent upon you to be able to go out and take the initiative, because no one will give you a relationship. You have to go and get it, right? So you have to be absolutely proactive as I say, you have to be intentional with this brand building. And everybody you see that you want to connect with, you have to devise a plan. How will I get in touch with this person? Right? It's very important that you do that and you spend time every day. Once you do that every day, it becomes second nature. You're like, oh, I like this person. You talk to them. I see you doing this. I like what you're doing. And eventually you'll see your network start to expand and expand and expand, and your name start to expand and expand and expand. And before you know it, like so many people know you, you'll be amazed.
I love it, love it. Well, jump into the next question from Tricia Pauline. She's asking, how important is modeling my own clothes and introducing myself to my followers as a fashion design seamstress?
It's absolutely important. Why would I wear your clothes if you won't wear your clothes?
Nah, love it.
Why would I wear your clothes if you wouldn't even wear your
It's
clothes?
true.
You know,
It's true.
why would I wear your designs if you're not coming? Remember, and clothing in particular is a very, very subjective and could be very emotional thing, right? If there's no emotion, if there's no person behind the clothes, why would I wear it, right? Most times, and I say to people that your clothes take on the personality of the person that wears it. So that's why one person can wear something and it wouldn't fit so well, it wouldn't do so well, and then somebody else wears it and it's like, wow, boom, you know, the dress or whatever takes on a whole different type of feel because the person brings their persona to it. And clothes have attitude, clothes tell a story, clothes really give us a whole sense of who we are, you know. So
Man, I need to go retake my clothes, man.
yeah. I mean, it really does. You know, the things you wear tells people a lot about who you are and what you feel about yourself. So if you're not there wearing your own clothes, how am I supposed to feel about those clothes? I mean, you're not there. Why would I wear them?
Love it, love it, love it. Well, we are pretty much out of time. What we want to do, guys, we said that we were going to give away a copy of Jamila's book, The Blueprint. The brand print, my apologies, the brand print. And so here's what we're going to do. So for one of you guys who have been tuned in and stayed tuned in for the entire show, I'm going to actually ask Jamila, I'm putting her on the spot, to put a question out there. And maybe from something we've discussed tonight, just put a question out there. And this is you got to go to our Creative Monday discussion page. At 8:00 tonight, we're going to put a post up there. And under that post, you got to put the answer there, and then we're going to tally all of that. You have until tomorrow midday, Tuesday midday, to submit all your answers, and then we're going to collect all the answers, and the correct one, we're going to do a spin thingy there. We have a wheel of fortune type of thing, and we're going to choose a winner, and pretty much the winner will get a copy of Jamila's book. And so the instruction and how to submit will be posted on our Creative Monday discussion show. But I just wanted Jamila to be the one to put that question out there for you guys, and then from there we will give you the opportunity to pick.
So I have the question. So I mentioned tonight I had a model in the book, and I said there are 3 things that need to intersect in order for you to have a powerful and impactful brand. If you could tell me what those things are and how they're supposed to intersect, you will win the book and you will get to see the model. Yes.
Awesome. Great. So guys, go to Creative Monday Show, Creative Monday Discussion Show Facebook page. Instructions will be there tonight in how to comment, and you gotta follow Jamila's page. You can't win the book if you're not following her page. I'm just gonna say that. You gotta follow what she's doing. Look her up on LinkedIn. Follow us as well and stay connected. Jamila, this was an amazing discussion. I really loved it. I think an hour was too short. There was so much other questions I wanted to ask that we never got into. So definitely we'll have to have a part 2 for this. But thank you so much for taking your time out, for coming on and adding value to our audience. For those who are tuning in, the Creative Monday Show is all about inspiring, motivating, and transforming lives through creativity and entrepreneurial innovation. And Jamila, you're a perfect example of someone who's using both your creativity and your entrepreneurship to add value to those that you connect with, right? So thank you. Definitely appreciate meeting you tonight. Yeah.
Yes. Thank you. And shout out to all the people in the audience. Thanks, guys, for staying on with us.
Yeah, definitely. So for you guys, next week we'll be back again, and I want to say shout out to everyone who's been tuned in, stayed in on Facebook. I want to say shout out to our friends in Antigua and Barbuda. We're actually airing in Antigua and Barbuda on So Rise TV, and we're also airing in Europe and the Caribbean area on Carib Invest TV. So I'm excited, as Jamila said earlier, we are a global show, and so I'm very excited for that opportunity, and for our network and friends who have made it possible for us to be airing both here in Belize but also globally. Next week, we're going to be talking about creating multiple income streams. So if we're going to meet with an amazing entrepreneur and going to share their journey and kind of what that process looks like. So if you want to learn a little bit more about how to generate revenues from multiple income streams, next week episode is for you. Thank you guys for tuning in tonight. Thank you for making the show your show. I want to say God bless you. Have a wonderful rest of your week. And oh guys, I almost forgot, we have a product that we're pushing right now. If you can see, Jamila said put it out there. We have our poster, our treat every day like it's a Monday poster. It's out. If you want a copy of this poster, reach out to us. We're going to put some information on our page how you can get a copy of this poster. But again, we thank you guys. God bless you. Have a great week, and we'll see you again next week, Monday, same time, same place.